Hi everyone, my name is Joseph and welcome to a conversation about Digimon Liberator. Unfortunately, we got some new news from Bandai Namco. They released via social media that a new chapter or episode of Digimon Liberator, so chapter 2 slash episode 2, will not be coming out this weekend, or rather this past Thursday. It's going to come out next Thursday instead, so hopefully, fingers crossed for sure, I will be discussing episode slash chapter 2 next weekend. I'm not sure why Bandai Namco changed the release date, but according to the community and the fan base, I believe, and we believe, hopefully, fingers crossed again, that after next week, the schedule should remain static. So it should be every 2 weeks for the webcomic and every 3 weeks for the web novel. If that changes, I'll make sure to relay that here as well. And with that being said, unfortunately, although we did get some, I guess not news, but a postponement for Liberator in the webcomic form, we have not gotten any news at all about the web novel portion. So if anyone's curious about that part, I believe I said this in the last video, all one can really read up on is on the official website of the novel section. There's a listing, rather there's 4 listings for the characters, 2 of the human characters and 2 of the Digimon characters. I forgot the woman's name, but I do know it's Impmon. I forgot the other Digimon's name, but he's a bee of some kind. And then the other human's name, I forgot his name, but I believe it's spelled something like W-I-N-R. So rather, I didn't forget, I just don't know how to pronounce it. So, yeah. Again, I'm hoping to find out more information about that as we continue. Maybe we'll get our first chapter for that after chapter 2, episode 2 of Digimon Liberator, or it might even be, because to my understanding, the way that the web novel is going to work is that it's going to tie into the webcomic here and there. They're both going to be independent properties, but they'll intermingle from time to time. It kind of reminds me a little bit like The Legend of Heroes, if anyone's ever played that video game series, a JRPG series, the Cross Spell duology, the Sky trilogy, and the Code Steel trilogy. They're all their own separate stories, but they do intermingle and connect here and there, especially for the first arcs for Code Steel and Cross Spell. So I personally am very much looking forward to when the web novel does begin, and also when they start mixing with one another. When they mix with one another, I'm curious as to will we only get one chapter for? Well, I'm forgetting that they're going to be released in different schedules, right? So, but still, I'm curious if we're going to have a crossover. Will both chapters be posted on the webcomic and the web novel, since the story is being connected? Or will they be just posted on one section and then the story will continue? I'm not sure. What's really cool right now as being a Digimon fan is the fact that we are going through some new aspects such as this. I know a lot of people may not be happy or satisfied with the fact that there's not a lot of animation or video games being pumped out. Personally, I don't really have a card. I don't really have a horse in the whole video game discussion. I do play the Digimon video games, but to be frank with everyone, I'm more a recent video game player in regards to Digimon. I never played Digimon World on the PS1. I always did, but unfortunately, because I grew up on frugally or low income, unfortunately, I was never able to afford that game or game series. I've always wanted to play the Digimon fighting games as well, the melee games on, I believe it was Xbox and GameCube. But for whatever reason, at that point, I was saving up my money. I just didn't purchase it for some strange reason. I think it's because I wasn't really a fan of fighting games, although I did play Super Smash Brothers, but that was the only fighting game that I had. And then I'm trying to think of any other Digimon games. I really didn't start playing Digimon games into the PS4 generation, where I did have a DS, and again, fortunately, I don't think I was aware of the Digimon World games on the DS. So that bumps me out a bit. If I could go back in time, I wish I was more aware about that. But anyways, as I was saying, I'm not really well versed into the PS4, Xbox One generation and Switch generation with Digimon Survive. I have Digimon Survive, Cyber Sleuth, both of them on my Vita and my PS4, and then of course Next Order, I believe it's called. That's the most recent one that I purchased. As someone who's a new entry, as someone who's barely experiencing the VPET side of Digimon for the first time, that's what's convinced me to check out the Next Order game, because that's essentially the VPET but in a video game format. If I'm enjoying the physical version, I'm pretty sure I'm going to enjoy the game aspect of it too. Also, yeah, that's what I mean when I don't really have a horse. If a new Digimon World game does come out, I will purchase it. But I personally have always been gravitated towards Digimon in terms of its characterization and its storytelling. So, and I know Mo might be thinking, well, Joseph, there's no shows going on at the moment. So what storytelling are you referring to? Personally, as someone who does not mind reading, again, I think I make this joke quite often. I started making my videos with my regular bookshelf. I can't point, excuse me. But you guys know what I'm trying to point out. My bookshelf behind me. Oh, there we go. I started making my videos with just one bookshelf. A lot of this is novels, short stories, mostly novels, and some criticism. And then and then over here, that's when I really started getting into manga. The top shelf has some leftover literature that doesn't really fit in that shelf, and then everything else from the second shelf bottom, it's manga, right? So I don't mind reading, and a little bit of comics as well, DC comics, right? I can't do it. In the second shelf on the left-hand side. Thanks for your patience while I was trying to do that with my fingers. Anyway, as I was saying, I do have some DC comics as well. So my point is that I really don't mind reading. I've been reading in different formats, both physical and digitally. I do have a Kindle, a Paperwhite Kindle, so it doesn't go onto the internet. It's only for reading. I don't mind reading whatsoever. And that's why I'm having a great time as a Digimon fan. I am a little bit disappointed in myself in how I didn't have any videos for Digimon Dreamers. I think I was being too judgmental. I didn't start reading Dreamers until after I finished Seekers. And I was surprised to find out that I very much was enjoying Dreamers. In fact, I think I'm being too hard on myself. I did try to read Dreamers at first, and I read up to the point where I think it was like chapter 4 or chapter 5 around there. But personally, what didn't grab my attention was the fact that there was no overarching story. I did know that the main characters was trying to digivolve Postmon, and I forgot the human's name. But that wasn't really put at the forefront until about halfway to the story when Wizardmon comes on and Witchling gets introduced and everything like that. So once I found out that that was going to come in the future, that's part of what convinced me to start reading Dreamers. I'll be honest as well, the fact that there was no more Digimon content coming out is also what convinced me to consume Dreamers too, not just Seekers. As a Digimon fan, right now it really does feel like there's so much subject matter for us to consume, us being the audience, the fans, especially if one does not mind reading material. Personally, I am happy that Bandai Namco's, I'm not sure. I am aware that a lot of people, besides the fact that no new animation show was announced, a lot of people were also disappointed with Seekers being just a light novel, a web novel with 1 or 2 pictures and everything else is just text. I could see why some people were disappointed about that as well, because reading is I don't want to say time-consuming action, because that seems like you're putting in a lot, because we could read whenever we can when we're waiting in the bus, waiting for our next shifts to start, shopping in the line, whatever it may be, right? And of course, there's the bathroom as well. So I don't want to make it seem like reading is this really action-consuming, time-consuming thing, but I am aware that not a lot of people have as much free time. So I think the webcomic would be a really nice middle ground between animation and just text, and that's it. With that being said, though, something that I'm not really a fan of when it comes to photo-based stories, so comics, manga, light novels, and so forth. It's just the fact that I feel like the pictures take up more space. I want to hear from the characters and find out what they're doing rather than just seeing what they're doing. So I think what Bandai Namco is doing right now, having both a web novel and a web comic, I think that's a really smart move to be doing, because now you're getting a lot more individuals with one's net. You're getting those people who much more prefer to read comics and manga. You're getting those people who don't mind reading anything. And then in the middle, you're getting everyone else who, again, they don't mind reading. Okay, let me be more specific. This side, those who like manga and comics. This side, those who only like novels and short stories. And then in the middle, you have everyone else like myself who novel, short story, poem, script, manga, comic, so forth, etc. If it's a good story with good characterization, I'm more than likely going to consume it. So I'm really happy about that aspect as a Digimon fan. What I'm not happy about is just the lack of information that we're getting. We got so much information at the Digimon Con of this year about Liberator, but then after that, we really didn't get any more information. I'm more thinking about the web novel aspect, because I am being a bit harsh, because with that being said, if one is following the Liberator website, then one is probably aware that it's looking like when each new episode / chapter comes out, we're going to get some world building information on the other aspects of the other website. So that's pretty cool. So there's small updates like in that regard, but when I'm talking about updates, I'm talking about more just information, making it communicating with the fan base and Bandai Namco. Again, we did not find out about this postponement for Liberator until this week, when a lot of us were really excited for the new chapter / episode. With that being said, though, I think it's a really good sign that I was disappointed at this postponement, and yet, despite that, I'm still excited. I think that tells me as a reader that I am invested and engaged with the material that's being produced so far. So, good job on that, Namco, Bandai Namco's writers. That means you're doing a really great job, and I myself am appreciative of that. I'm sure there's other members in the community too, and I'm hopeful that there's going to be other members in the community as well who, like myself, were bummed at the announcement, but we're still looking forward to the story, and we're only feeling bummed because, well, we were excited, and we were excited because of the story. So hopefully that makes sense. I was kind of getting a bit superficially philosophical right there, going around in a circle. But yeah, hopefully what I just stated clicks with everyone else as well. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm repeating myself again. So one quick conversation I want to do with this video, since we really don't have a new video besides just sharing. Excuse me, I grabbed something in the bottom. Besides sharing for new updates, is also just to make a comment. I discussed this a little bit in the last video. What I really do enjoy and appreciate about Digimon, and this is going to be its own video, I just want to mention this since we didn't have anything this week, are the Digimon protagonists. So I'm not going to include the side Digimon such as Gatomon, Patamon, Biomon, and so forth, Armadillomon. They're definitely main characters as well, but when I say, I'm specifically want to focus on what Bandai Namco will consider to be the main characters from each series. For example, Yamato and Taichi from Adventure 1, Davis and Ken from Adventure 2. I would argue that all three characters are just as important for Tamers. Henry, Rika, and Takato, but if push came to shove, I would have to say that the two main ones would be Rika and Henry. Excuse me, not Henry. As much as I love Henry, enjoy Henry's character, it would be Rika and Takato, who would be the two main focus. Frontier will be, of course, I forgot the names, excuse me, but the individual who has a twin, minus spoilers, and then the other individual who's the Agumon Taichi stand-in. And then with Savers, we have Masaru and Toma. And then I haven't seen the other, and then Ghost Game. I haven't seen Appimon and Cross Wars. I would argue, again, like with Tamer, since we only have three, to be frank, I haven't finished Ghost Game. For sure, at the forefront would be Hiro and Gabamon. And maybe this would be the first time there's only one quote-unquote protagonist. Because I would argue that, I forgot their names. Oh, no. I just had it in the tip of my mouth as well. But the other male character and the other female character who supports Hiro, while very important, I think this would be the first time in the Digimon franchise where there's a focus on one character and their partner, Hiro and Gamamon. And then, of course, Seekers. I think I'm going to include Seekers with the main franchises. We have Eiji and Leon, and now we have Liberator. Liberator with Arisa and Shoto. It's looking like Arisa is going to play an important role with Shoto. I'm hoping at least that will be the case. So with all that being said, the Digimon I want to focus on is essentially Agumon, Gabumon, Warmon, Vmon. I guess in Frontier that doesn't really count. Guillaumon, Renamon, I skipped that by accident. Postmon, Logomon, Agumon with little straps in his hands. Gaomon, Logomon, Postmon. And then, of course, our new protagonists, Shumon and Petromon. From all these Digimon, my question for today is, what's your favorite protagonist Digimon? One could probably deduce what mine would be, so I'm going to choose my second favorite in this instance, because I think everyone who watches my videos are probably aware that I'm a big Yamato Gabumon fan. So whenever I can, I will choose Gabumon. So in this instance, my second favorite Digimon, I might have to say this is actually really hard. Before Seekers came out, hands down, it would have been Guillaumon. And then after that, Warmon. But in this instance, I really did enjoy Logomon a lot. I'm not going to lie. I think I am projecting because of my dog. I do have a dog. My dog. So because of that, I think that's what's playing a factor as well. And I think that's what's pushing Logomon forward. So I think it will have to be between Guillaumon and Logomon for my second favorite. But for right now, just because I read Seekers recently, I'll have to choose Logomon for my second favorite. But for everyone else, if it's not obvious, I'm only choosing my second favorite because, again, if you've been watching and coming along with me, which I do appreciate, thank you so much. You're probably aware that, again, Gabumon will be my choice. As always, I really do appreciate you guys watching and engaging with me. Have a great day, everyone, and hopefully next week we'll be able to discuss Digimon Liberator episode/chapter 2, and maybe even have more information about the web novel. Have a Pro Digits day, and take care, everyone.